Hey everybody, this is Alex Rutledge with American Roots Outdoors, and you're listening to Ozark Traditions TV.
Ozark Traditions in the great outdoors.
Welcome to Ozark Traditions TV podcast, a place where outdoor topics are discussed. Now sit back as today's host brings you the outdoors inside.
Ozark Traditions in the great outdoors.
All right, guys, welcome back to another Ozark Traditions TV podcast. I'm TJ. I'm here with Matt and Justin, just like every week. And today, guys, we have got somebody that most of us probably grew up watching in the HS Strut, the hunter specialty deals. I know I watched a lot of his turkey hunting, a lot of his deer hunting, but somebody I kind of grew up looking up to, and I finally get to talk to him. I've already talked to him once, but I get to talk to him a little bit longer tonight. Mr. Alex Rutledge. So, Alex, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and first of all, thank you so much for asking me to be on your show, and thank you for what you guys represent.
Well, we sure appreciate it. We feel the same about you. That's why we was just tickled to death to get you on here.
Well, I'm just a common guy, you know. I born and raised here in southern Missouri, born in a farmhouse, and 1964, grew up with 9 brothers and sisters, and my dad was a World War II veteran, and he come back from World War II and had a bad case of arthritis, and he basically farmed most of his life, and he was a houndsman, and we learned to hunt from my dad, and grew up in following my brother's footsteps and my dad's footsteps, deer hunting and turkey hunting. So that's how I got started and into hunting. So it was passed through my roots, my blood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's basically how it seems like everybody had some type of a family member. And I think that's what's important in today's world is somebody, it doesn't matter who you are, friend, family member, try to get somebody out in the outdoors and do something. You never know where it might go. And hunting and fishing and stuff, it's kind of getting lost, I feel like, a little bit, and you got guys like you, Alex, and we're trying to kind of do the same thing. We're trying to create content and just keep it alive, keep it interesting.
Yeah, keep passing those traditions down.
Right. I mean, that's kind of like the name we've got. And then, Alex, you've got the American Roots. I mean, you've done a lot of great things in your life that I know about. Because I've got almost all the HS Strut videos. I mean, with Eddie, which we went to the NWTF convention here in Nashville just a few months ago, whenever it was. And I actually got a turkey calling lesson from Eddie Salters, which kind of made my day. He was he's a real great guy. Killed more turkeys than we've even seen in our lifetime, and but we got to talk with him for a long time. We actually seen and now I can't think of his name.
What?
Rick White.
Oh, Rick White. Yeah.
Yep. We've seen Rick White there. But man, I grew up watching all you guys. Matt Moret, Philip Vanderpool, all of them, and I learned how to kind of try to call turkeys and a little bit how to hunt turkeys watching you on Hunter Specialties. So it was just a real treat to hear that you guys are going to come on here. So I'm kind of rambling now, but I kind of get a little starstruck, I guess.
Well, thank you, man. Again, I just want to say I'm a common guy just like you guys, and anything I can do to help you guys grow your show or help promote you guys, because you're the younger generation and we got to pass it on, and you're right. The focus has been lost with a lot of shows, not all the shows, some of the shows and organizations and corporate businesses now, in my opinion, and they've lost the true meaning of what hunting's really about, and the focus has gotten too much on who can kill the biggest deer or the most turkeys, and I went through that era myself. I've been guilty of it. The older I get, the more I realize that created these animals, and I've known that all my life, but really taken it serious, you know. And I've always had a big heart, and a passion to take kids because, you know, I can share a story with you. My brother was out running coyote dogs one time, and this is why it's instilled in me, because he took me and showed me love and showed me the outdoors. And I'll never forget, I had plastic cowboy boots. I was raised dirt floor poor, and the house was running this coyote. And I was like 3 or 4 years old. I went to cry, and he took away from his hunt and took me and built a fire and took my socks off. I'll never forget it. Had a green limb there and hung my socks on that limb, and took my boots and put them by the fire and got them dried off. He said, "Now you stay right here." And my older brother, Larry Ozark Rutledge, done that for me. And he said, "I'm going to go try to kill this coyote, and I'll come back and get you. Don't you be scared." And I remember it was really cold. And he went and killed that coyote, come back and got me. And I'll never forget that. I was 3 or 4 years old. And he showed me his love of wanting me to be with him. But also he took away from his hunt to make sure that I wasn't in pain and I was warm again, you know. And so that's what I try to pass on through what we are doing at American Roots. It's about our roots. It's about, you know, the love of hunting, fishing, the outdoors, and our creator. So the message we want to send to everybody is faith, family, friends, outdoors, and our constitutional rights.
Yeah.
The era we are living in this day and time, I made a post here a couple of weeks ago when I was in the airport. I didn't mean it to be negative. I was curious. You know, I'm a Christian, and I was curious. And the guy had a ponytail. And his ponytail, he had his fingernails painted black, and he had sunflower seed heads in his ears for earrings. And had his ponytail about a foot and a half long. He had pink ribbons and purples and blues and yellows and oranges. And I made a post that said, I don't understand. This guy could be a new fad. He could have been a pastor. I don't know. I had a bunch of negative comments come on there from liberals, which they're entitled to their opinion, just like we all are, and you all agree.
Yeah.
And said I was judging. I never judged nobody, not one time, in what I posted. I don't understand. Could you tell me why somebody that saw the picture could tell me why this person dressed like that? Is it a fad? Is it a religion? Is it a culture? What is it? Because the culture I was raised in
was a little
raised
different.
Wearing a flat top. Yeah. Wearing a flat top. I'll never forget. I'll share one more funny story with you. My dad, he cut all of us boys' hairs. I had 4 brothers, 5 sisters. And lost a brother here back a year ago. Not quite a year ago. But anyway, I told Dad, I said, "Dad, I want a haircut like Elvis Presley." You know, he had that curl, you know, how Elvis Presley. I thought Elvis Presley was it. And he said, "Okay, son, get up here." He went to cut my hair, and I didn't pay attention. You know, I wasn't 4 or 5 years old. And I had a flat top. I said, "Dad, this ain't like Elvis."
Don't look
He
nothing.
said, "Oh, yes, it is, son." He said, "It was Elvis when he was in the Army."
Yeah, he got you there.
Good. That's pretty good.
You know,
Yeah.
the flat top thing, I think it's just a military, because my grandpa was in the military, and when we were little, we'd always go get our hair cut, you know, and I can remember like the side spike, you know, it was a big deal when I was growing up, and I'd go get it, and we'd go up and see Grandpa, and he'd look at me and just shake his head. And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "What are you doing?" Right? I said, "Cut that off there." You know, And, but he was the type of the guy, if you sat down at the dinner table with your hat on, you didn't have it on long because he'd hit you in the back of the head so hard it'd fly across the room. Mm-hmm. You know, and you always said grace before you eat, and you never wore a hat to the table. I can tell you that. And you learn, you know, about 2 times is all it took for me to learn, like, I'm not going to wear this hat to the table anymore at Grandpa's house. So, you know, and that's kind of a dying breed there too. I mean, you know, people don't sit down and eat at the table together anymore. People don't, do any of that stuff because it's not cool, you know. And like going back to the hunting thing, and something we've kind of, you know, we're just a little thing here, but we're trying to do our best. You know, you get caught up with the TV shows nowadays, and it's all about the biggest, the best, 200-inch deer, giant turkeys, and people, and you know, we talk to people, and they're like, man, I just kind of miss the days where guys just went hunting, you know, and if they killed something good, if they didn't, whatever.
Like somebody shooting a Jake or something cool like that.
Right. Like, so me and Matt had one of our episodes last week, we had this Jake come in there, and the turkeys just whooped our hind ends last year. So we was more than happy to shoot this Jake.
Tickled.
And I got, you know, there was a lot of people that really enjoyed. They're like, you know, it kind of relates to us. Like, we can go out there, and if you just go kill you a Jake or something, it's all right. That's cool. You know, me and Matt both killed some deer last year with the rifles. None of them were no big old giant bucks, but we had a good time doing it. We, you know, and that's what here with Ozark Traditions TV is what we try to push, is just go out, have fun. We know we don't have a ton of sponsors. Yeah. We don't, and I guess I'm not trying to dog anybody that does. I'm just saying, I think in the hunting industry, some people get caught up too much in the product and the stuff like that nowadays. And I'm afraid maybe it might hurt us a little bit.
I think in the long run, it will.
It will. If I may interrupt, I want to share something with you.
Go for it.
I've been in the industry for 35 years, and I was with Hunter Specialties till 2010, from 1986 to 2010. So figure that out.
That's a little while.
25 years, right at 25 years. But anyway, Hunter Specialties at one time was the number one company in the outdoor industry in turkey calls, insemination, deer calls, everything. We had a very high-end production company that done our TV shows, but the storyline that we always tried to keep was always real. We never hunted high fences. We never hunted over bait. Every turkey we killed, we called and killed it. Every deer we killed, we either killed it with a mock scrape, calling. That's what we wanted to promote. And I'm not going against hunting over bait if it's legal. Each and everybody to their own. Kind of like the people when I made the post of the guy with the ponytail. We're all entitled to our opinions and our thought process and how we feel about things. You know, we're all hunters. We all just need to get along. But you're right. The industry as a whole has got off on, look at me, I've killed a 200. What have you killed? Right. You know, or I've killed an inch and a half spurred gobbler and you kill a Jake. You know, hey, we're all hunters. The thing is, you know, I choose not to shoot Jakes, but that don't mean that you're wrong for shooting a Jake. That's what makes you happy.
Right.
So you're entitled to that. Now, as a kid growing up, before we had lots of turkey, lots of deer, I can tell you right now, if you killed a 110-inch deer, when I was a kid growing up, everybody in the country came to look at it. No joke.
Yeah.
I remember riding on the school bus. The Sinclair gas station, it was deer season. People would go into the check station to check their deer, and people would be surrounded in the back of trucks looking at people's deer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what created a fire in me too, is the camaraderie, the fellowship of us all being together, sharing our stories. Boy, this old buck was chasing a doe, or, you know, or this buck was working the scrape, and, you know, and then we really killed them to eat them. Every piece of it. My dad was the type of guy, I promise you, he didn't waste nothing. He would cut the meat out between the rib bones.
Right.
That's no joke.
Yeah.
So we didn't waste nothing. And we helped feed a lot of families. We would take deer meat to people and turkey breast. But my point where I'm going with all this is this. The industry has been taken over by big corporate groups, and the focus has been put on more on money than it has the real values. of what got us where we are now. I'm hunting because my dad and my brothers taught me to hunt in the thrill of the chase, or the calling that gobbler, outsmarting that buck, or standing in front of an old wood fire and with tarsal glands. I remember my dad wearing key overalls. He would always save the tarsals from the bucks the boys would kill or we would kill, and he'd have them pinned on his sides, and he'd stand in front of a smoke fire. And, I said, Dad, why do you have it? Because Alex, another buck smells that, he'll come to it.
Yeah.
And the smoke would cover his human odor. So the focus needs to be back, in my opinion. Each and everybody knows, if you want to kill 200s, hunt high fence, that's your right. I choose not to do it, just like I choose to be a conservative, not a liberal. So to get it back where it needs to be, we need to take a 360, 30,000 foot perspective of what we're doing.
Yeah.
What you got, go ahead.
Alex, do you think it'll ever get back to the old way of hunting?
I pray that it does, but here's what's happened again. Where I was leading to all this and sum it all up, when I had a lot of money behind me, who had 1 million followers monthly in my social media, because we had the money to get us out there in the TVs and the networks. And that's why you see some of the guys really popular. It isn't that they're any better than you or me. It's that they have money behind them to get them networked, to get the visibility.
Right.
So that's what you're seeing. There's lots of great hunters all across the country, as good as some of the pro hunters that you see on TV. I don't claim to be the best turkey hunter, best deer. I just claim to be the guy that loves to share the outdoors and call them and to shoot some once in a while. But I'm not mad at turkeys or deer anymore like I used to when I was a young guy. I'm 57 now, and now I'm understanding that my duty is to pass it on, is to share,
Yeah.
And I guide a few hunts. I guide a few smallmouth trips, and I don't do a bunch. And I'm making my living now with American Roots, with radio and my podcast. I'm my own boss, and I'm blessed to be working with partners. I hate to say sponsors, because sponsors is for NASCAR drivers.
Yeah.
I'm just a common guy. If you guys ever get a chance, you come to Birch Tree, I'd love you to come out and see my farm and see my cabin where I'm talking to you from now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing public speaking at churches, schools, events, sharing my faith. I'm not perfect, but sharing my faith, and hopefully we can touch someone to go back to the traditions and the roots and our bloodline of our ancestors. Because God's, the focus of God, there's so many, and I'm not judging, I'm giving biblical verbiage. God said he will spew us from his mouth if we are lukewarm. There's so many lukewarm Christians now. It's okay that if your child wants to do that. Oh, don't say that about my child. You need to follow the Bible. We're getting so far away from the Bible, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. In hunting also.
Yeah.
Because it's not about our ancestors anymore.
No, it's definitely took a left turn. I mean, and then if anybody with any, like Alex was talking about, guys that's got the funds behind them to get out there, those are the type of people we need to commit more to the actual hunting and the traditions and the good things about hunting and fishing, because those are who everybody's watching. You got all these young kids now. YouTube's a big deal nowadays. Everybody can just get on there and watch whatever they want. We need some of these big guys, and to be like, hey, this is how it needs to be. Don't worry about, we got all these deer age and score things on Facebook and stuff. And we've talked about this before. Yeah. You get some 15, 16-year-old kid, he kills him 100-inch buck with his bow. He's tickled to death, proud as could be. He puts it on there and he says, what do you guys think this deer, or what do you think about this deer? Now, 50% of the guys are like, man, that is an awesome buck. He'd probably go 95 inches. Congratulations. But then you got them guys, you should have given him shooting baby deer. You know, guys, this kid's just getting started. And if everybody just keeps hounding people like that, you're going to scare him away from doing it. And that's what we need to stop doing. We need to encourage people.
What a lot of people don't understand is not everybody has 180-inch deer or 200-inch deer just walking around. You know, like where we live here in the Ozarks, if you hit a 130,
you've got the
you're
talk
wonderful.
You're talk of the town around here. You shoot a 130-inch buck, you're like Alex said, people are coming to your house to look at it. But it has nothing to do with the size of anything. I mean, if you're doing it for that, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. If you're not going out to enjoy it,
it needs to be more about the camaraderie and the fellowship.
It does. The memories. I'm going to say that I love big bucks now.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not going to judge somebody because they shot a 110-inch deer. I'm not going to say, "Oh, why'd you do that?"
Right.
You know, that's the right.
Yep.
But I got a friend of mine on Mark Twain National Forest, south of Birch Tree, Missouri, in December, shot a 187.
It's a big one.
187,
especially down there.
He hunted a 140-inch 8-pointer. He had over 150 hours in hunting this 8-pointer. And he bought him a white, and I'm not saying this to make a sales pitch, but I'm just telling you straight up. He bought him a Wise Eye camera that would send pictures to his phone within 5 to 30 seconds. He got tired of hunting that 8-pointer. He moved his Wise Eye to a new location, and he found this giant deer. And he killed the deer, I want to say less than 40 hours after using the hunt control and his camera. He only could hunt the evenings and weekends.
Right.
But the camera helped him kill the big deer.
Oh, they definitely. I'm going to tell you right now, the cell camera thing has really been a game changer on the deer hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be frustrating if you're sitting at work and getting all these pictures of these big bucks chasing does around your tree stand. But you know what?
Like Alex just said, that Wise Eye, if you guys ever looked into them, that thing's a legit deal.
Oh yeah, they're a legit deal. But that's another thing. I don't care that people use tools to their advantage. That's what they're there. Like Alex said, if it's legal, go for it, man. Whatever it takes to help you be successful. Because let's be honest, the more successful people are at hunting and fishing, the more they're going to want to do it. And the more people doing it, and I know a lot of guys are going to be like, we don't need all these people we need all the people hunting and fishing we can get, guys.
Yeah.
Because that is the only way this is going to keep going. That's the only way it's going to stay alive is people doing it. Because if it gets just swept under the rug, eventually it's just going to die off and it's going to be gone. So now, Alex, something else. You used to have a deal called Bloodline. Is that right?
That is correct.
That was a really cool. We talked about that, the way you guys went and done that. We kind of, Matt Smith, the guy that owns Ozark Traditions TV, he kind of, the way you guys just went about doing that, we kind of tried to not copycat, but we just, the way you guys did that show, it was, we really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of people did.
Let me tell you the story on that. We created Bloodline in 2010. I left Hunter Specialties in 2010, and God had been dealing with me the last year in 2010. One day I come home from the road, and I was spending over 200 days a year on the road, traveling for Hunter Specialties, doing promotion, doing video hunts, and appearances, etc. And God just, I was getting job offers after job offers from other companies trying to hire me, and I was loyal to Dave and Carmen, the owners of HS, and you cut me, I bleed green and yellow. And if I die tomorrow or tonight, there will be an HS symbol on my clothing somewhere. It's still in my blood. And I left in 2010, December. I told David Forbes, I said, David, I'm quitting. He called me. And I'll never forget it. It was in the evening. I was home from a road trip. He goes, Alex, I want you to come and do a hunt with Babe Winkleman. I said, David, I I need to talk to you. I said, I've decided to leave Hunter Specialties as a full-time employee. And I've been with them, 25 years. And you could hear his mouth drop and the phone almost dropped. What? I said, Dave, I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. I said, God has opened my eyes that my family is more important to me than my career. And I said, I had a job offer to stay home and work in the Midwest and be home more. My daughter's 14 years old. I said, David, I will still represent Hunter Specialties through the new brand that we're going to create. And he said, okay. He said, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. Well, after I left, I gave him my 2 weeks notice. We created the name Bloodline. And with a guy out of Elsinore, Missouri, he and his family owned banks, and he wanted to create a chain of stores called Rut Outfitters all across the Midwest with towns of 20,000 people. It'd be an outlet like a little Bass Pro.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be tied in with Bass Pro. Well, he lasted 1 year. And here I left Hunter Specialties after 25 years, signed a 3-year contract with this guy. And he got into financial problems. I'm not naming his name, and I'm not being negative. And I ended up obtaining Bloodline from him, and I let some other people come in as partners with me. And went through 3 or 4 different partners and relationships. And Bloodline became one of the #1 shows on the Pursuit Channel.
Mm-hmm.
We had a very high-end production company. We had a lot of money that we had coming in from sponsors. And whoever tells you there's a bunch of money made in TV, I want to talk to them.
Yeah, because they're full of it.
Yeah, because it was costing us $100,000 a year to edit, produce the show, and we was paying for our producers. Think about that.
Oh, what? Yeah.
They're the ones making the money.
Yeah.
The editor was making the money.
Right.
Yeah. And long story short, my cameraman that I took under my wing like a little brother and trained him to film, and he left me to go work for that production company. It broke my heart, but I knew it was coming. He didn't know I knew it, but I knew it was coming because people was telling me.
Yeah.
So he left me and went through the 3rd or 4th partnership with Bloodline, and a guy in Kansas, I'm not naming his name, he's an outfitter. He was on my team at Bloodline at the time, and I loved him like a little brother, another one of those little brothers.
Mm-hmm.
He said, hey, I want to buy Bloodline. He said, we're financially stable and blah, 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 blah. And I said, let me pray on it. He goes, I'll give you the same salary you made and pay for your truck, and I'll do a 5-year deal with you. I just want you to mentor me, and when you decide to leave, it'll be my business. I said, okay, let's do it. After I said, give me a few days, think about it, pray on it. So like a week later, I called, I said, let's do it. So I let him buy it. Within 6 months, he was late on paying me.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for my checks, and I had to not argue with him to get him to pay me.
Right.
So I knew I was in a bad relationship there, and they breached my contract. And I did not take them to court, and I still can. They owe me a lot of money, guys. It absolutely hurt me. Over $35,000 in 1 year he owed me for salary. I still not got my money.
Yeah. And
left me to pay for my truck, and I had bills going out the yin yang. I had to go back and restructure my financial situation. But anyway, Bloodlines is on halt right now because in my contract I've got first right of refusal to obtain the name and the company back. You can't sell it to anybody. So I leave. I'm heartbroken. My wife's upset because of all the people that's, kind of stabbed me in the back and used me and all this and that. And we're sitting there on the couch after church one day about 2 o'clock in the day, and my daughter Mallory says, Dad, you need to get back in the industry because that's your true passion, your love. And because I've been praying, Dad, because I come up with a name for you. We'll call it Roots. And I think we need to call it Roots because it's similar to Bloodline. You're going to send the same message. And long story short, she does some Google researching. Roots was taken. American Roots was taken, but American Roots Outdoors was not. So we trademarked it and LLC'd it. And that's how we created American Roots. And we stand for faith, family, friends, outdoors, and our constitutional rights. This coming August will be 3 years. And right now, I don't care to tell you, we're 100% organic. We do not spend any money marketing or soliciting ourselves to get people to follow us. We have over 40,000 followers through our social media. And our interaction numbers, this is what's important. This is what a lot of people need to understand. Just because we only got 40,000 followers, I have 50 to 100% interaction with my posts.
Yeah, we're learning that too, and I think that's why we relate to you so much. Is it's basically
you're common.
Everything that we're doing at Ozark Traditions TV is coming out of our own pocket. We don't have the big sponsors and all that. We really don't want them. I mean, to be honest, we'd rather just keep it as real as we can be about it, and we just enjoy.
Here's my advice to you. Here's my advice to you guys. Okay, you're the young guns, so to say. You guys stay true to your real feelings. Stay down to earth. Play the best footage and audio that you can absolutely lay down. Tell the story. Your editing can make you or break you. Do not drag your hunts out. Okay? People don't want... They say the average attention span of someone's 15 seconds. You got to capture your viewers in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay? So make sure your content and audio and video is as good as you can get it. And don't show a long piece of footage dragging out. The secret to good TV and production is great content and a lot of edited points. So make your show really fast, but send in the message and really good, upbeat. And stay true to yourself and your traditions and your roots and your bloodline about the message you want to give. And God will take care of the rest.
You hit it to a T right there on everything we're doing. I mean, we've literally, all our shows now are around 10 minutes long. Our YouTube, we put stuff on YouTube because, like you said, nobody, like Matt calls it, he said, everybody wants the meat and potatoes. They don't want all the salad dressings. They just want to get right into whatever you're hunting and however you're doing it. And so that's what we try to do. And if you're going to be successful doing this, you've got to give the people what they want. And we've learned that,
Exactly.
You can't be trying to, and like I go back to the newer, I don't know. There's a ton of them out there now, but it's all, here I am with my Matthews bow, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I had to use this spray. If I wouldn't had this and this, and I set my redneck, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, nobody wants to watch that anymore,
Right. It's a hunting show with a built-in infomercial.
Nobody wants to sit and watch a guy sit over a 1,000-acre bean field that nobody can afford and sit in a heated box blind and shoot a 200-inch deer.
Right.
People would rather watch, the hunting public is a great example, would rather watch these guys running all over the hills on public land shooting fork-horn bucks than watch some guy sitting in a bean field snipe off a 200-incher. You know what I mean? It's just people... Yeah.
Well, people
are having fun.
Right, exactly. Right. And I think that is the main thing. They are having a good time. They're having fun. They don't always kill something.
Well, and people can relate to that because it's what they're doing.
And that's what people want to see nowadays. And that's why I think American Roots is doing so good. You guys are, like you said, you're not phony baloney, nothing. It's what it is. That's how it is. And
I want to add something to all this, gentlemen. And again, man, this is a great podcast. The content we're talking about is very right on. So when you get on TV and you do podcasts, you got a truck with logos on it. You would not believe the people who get jealous of you, your own family, your own friends. And they'll act like you're your friend, then they're behind your back. Oh, I'm as good as he is.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right. Oh no,
So,
we've experienced that already, you know.
Oh, I guarantee you will. But I don't mean to get off on a tangent. I feel I need to say this. Listen, we're all equal.
Yep.
I'm just doing this for a living. You're trying to do it for a living. Hey, you may be better than me, and I know one thing: I love what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And everybody, like you said, we're all equal. We're no better at this than anybody else. We just happen to film it and try to show it to everybody. You know, that's the only difference.
Exactly.
That is literally the only difference.
Which we put our successes and our failures out there.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
You need to.
Yeah.
How many videos you seen me in where I missed a big buck?
Yeah.
Or think about in the HS days. I wanted to show it.
One of the
you're going to show it.
Yeah, one of the most viewed videos that I'm in is when I missed about 150-inch buck opening day 2 years ago, and more people have watched that and talked about it than anything else. And they're like, "Well, what'd you?" I was like, "Hey, that's how it happened, man. I missed him at 23 yards. I remember it like it was yesterday."
Yeah.
Hey, I sent one in the map this year for last season, one I missed.
Right. We've always got Justin holding our back up for the missed videos. So if we ever get low on him, he can always send us.
You know what? I think we stay pretty well stocked with that kind of footage.
Yeah, we're pretty good. So, Alex, I was talking earlier about how I met you, and I got to tell you this story. She was my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, we were in the mall in Springfield, Missouri, and
your ex-girlfriend.
She was my girlfriend. And she wanted to go to the mall. So we go into American Eagle. And I'm sitting there. They used to have a couch sitting right out in the middle of this deal. Well, there's nothing in there that really catches my eye. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, well, I said, I'm going to go sit down on this couch. I said, okay. So I get over there and I sit down and I look over and I'll be danged. There, you're sitting right there. And you was with your daughter was in there. And me and you talked for an hour, it felt like. It probably wasn't.
I vaguely remember that, brother.
Do you really?
I do remember that. I do.
We talked for a while, and I thought, and my Megan, she's like, who is that? She had no clue. And I'm just like, so I was like, that's Alex Rutledge. And she's like, yeah, who's that?
Right.
And I'm like, he's like big turkey hunter on Hunter Special. I got home. I literally got home and I put in the HS Strut DVD. And I said, see right there. I said, superstar, and she goes, well, what did he have to say? I was like, you know what? He was the coolest guy I've talked to. And I told these guys about it. I was like, he was one of the most down. You wouldn't know he was anybody else, And that's what I remember that, obviously, until today. And just the way, like, you just talked to me like I was just, like we were just old hunting buddies. It's like I known you forever, and that was the first time I've ever met you. But
I was raised.
And I think that's why you're so successful. And I've noticed people that are like that, like Michael Waddell. We've met him a couple times.
Yes.
And he's been a down-to-earth guy every time. And I think that's why him and the Bone Collector thing has done so well, because they're not up in the air, stuck-up guys. There was 300 people at the National Wild Turkey thing standing in line wanting to talk to these guys. And there wasn't one person that went up there that they didn't give at least 10 to 15 minutes of their time to talk to. They weren't trying to rush you by and take a picture. They wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. So people like that just gain my respect, because we've met some that weren't like that, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'll remember that till the day I die, when I met Alex at the mall in Springfield.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Again, I just want to repeat myself. I'm a common guy. Promise you. And I tell you, a lot of these pro fishermen, they're common people too, man. They got a story. Hank Parker is one of the greatest people you'll ever meet in your life. A man of God, country singers, Aaron Tippin, down to earth, man. When I first met Aaron Tippin, went turkey hunting with him, he wanted me to come to his farm. You know what he was doing when I pulled into his farm?
I can only imagine.
I said, Aaron, I'm at your gate. What's the code? He goes, give me the code. He goes, drive on. See my house on the left in there about a quarter of a mile. I said, just come on, follow the paved road down in the bottom of the holler down there. I'm down at the garage. He said, you're going to stay in my tour bus, sleep in my tour bus. Okay. So I go down there and I get there. I pull up and I have a cast on, so I broke my leg. And I'm still hunting and turkey hunting and filming with a broken leg with a foot walking cast. That's how bad I love to hunt, man.
Oh.
But anyway, I get there and he's in his shop and he's got grease all over his face, his hands. He's cutting and welding on a trailer. He's a common guy.
Could go buy a new trailer if he wanted to, but he's going to work on that one. I mean,
yeah,
that's just,
cutting on it, welding on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had 4 junk cars behind his garage. You think he's in the Ozarks?
Yeah, you think he was from around here.
And wasn't Aaron Tippin a truck driver before a country singer?
Are you ready for this? He was a welder, certified welder. He traveled around and welded and drove a truck. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a cool story about his truck. The blue truck that's in his videos, he signed the dash. A buddy of mine from Birch Tree bought it. It's in Birch Tree right now. His truck is sitting in Birch Tree.
Nice.
The one's in the video.
Yeah.
It's sitting here. Yeah.
Another guy that hunted with the hunter specialty things a lot was Craig Morgan. Did you ever get to hunt with Craig any? Yeah, he was.
I've stayed at Craig's house several times, and I could tell you some stories about Craig too. He was raised a very patriotic guy. I remember the first time I ever met Craig, him and Early Mandrell walked in. We did a SHOT Show, and we just started talking. I didn't know who Craig was.
Right.
I didn't. I'm Craig Morgan. I sing God Country. Okay. Nice to meet you, man. Blah, 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 blah. And that was before we had smartphones.
Yeah.
And I knew who Early Mandrell was, all
Right.
right. You know, so we got talking about hunting. So, yeah, I'd like to go hunting. So we all started hunting together and helped get Craig in the outdoor industry and meeting people. And next thing you know, he's got all kinds of sponsors and he's doing TV shows. But,
he's eat up with it from what I've told. And I'm going to tell you right now, you won't see somebody get more excited to shoot a deer, I don't think, than Craig Morgan.
Yeah.
Maybe Luke Bryan. He got pretty wound up that time, but them guys.
Yeah.
And
Luke
that's
Bryan. I vote for Luke Bryan.
Yeah, he got pretty wound down on that, which that's what it's all about, man. If you don't get like that, then don't do it no more. I mean, if you ever lose that fire, that's just because I tell you what, Alex, my favorite hunt happened to me last year, and I'm sure a lot of guys could say this. My little boy Drake turned 6 years old, and here in Missouri, they got to be 6 years old to hunt.
Oh yeah.
And they passed the new crossbow thing, so we got him a crossbow and got him dialed in, and I took him bow hunting opening weekend, and he shot a doe. Well, we missed a couple deer. We was having some problems with him getting on. I had a scope that had 3 crosshairs, and he was having trouble with it, so I ended up just putting a red dot on it. And I sighted it in for 30 yards, dead on. So it was just a hair high at 20, and then I wasn't worried about shooting any farther than that. And he shot his first deer this year, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've killed a lot of animals and been on a lot of hunts, but that one right there, and I've filmed it. I've always got it to go back and watch, and
beautiful.
It was just we got the youth turkey season coming up here this weekend, and
yes.
We've been practicing a little bit. Matt actually went out and got a blind set up. We've seen a whole bunch of birds today, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hopefully, the weather's supposed to get kind of crappy on Friday, but Saturday might be better.
Well, you're talking about that, and we actually just this week released my boy's first turkey hunt, his first turkey that he ever killed. And I know, and I watched it, whenever Matt put it out, and me and TJ hollering after he shot the.
We got way more excited than he did.
I think we scared him a little bit. What happened?
Scare him because jumped back and looked at us.
You'd have thought we just won the state football championship.
Oh, man.
We was screaming and hollering, and it was a great time.
And there's nothing more nerve-wracking in the world than taking a kid out and you're just hoping everything's going to go perfect, And the kid's just cool. He was cool as a cucumber.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I'm on him. And I'm like, all right, buddy, and I'm shaking and I'm trying to run this camera. And I was like, just hold it right on his head, and Isaac's, he's a pretty smart lad. He's like, I got it, man. Like, leave me alone. And then Matt, he's just over there just trying to keep it together. And when he shot that turkey, if you'd asked me, Matt, I'd have told you it's 25 yards. And he was shooting a single shot 410 with some of that TSS in it. And we walked it off. It was 42 yards. I couldn't believe we would have never let him shoot at that turkey there.
Right.
I mean, me and Matt, everybody likes to try getting them close, and especially for a kid. And then once I got out of that ground blind, I was like, Matt, that thing was a long ways.
Yeah.
because it died instant. I mean, it didn't flop or nothing, and it was 42 yards, and then of course Isaac, he's like, yeah, I killed it, whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
he's like, well, I shot it right in the head.
I was like, man, that is a heck of a shot. Like most grown men can't shoot turkeys that far, but no, the kids, and I know that was something near and dear to your heart was the kids, and
It is.
all of us.
I'm taking one this weekend.
Yeah,
we're doing a hunt. Some special child from Springfield area. He's got, I think, terminal cancer. I don't know his name yet or anything, but I'm supposed to meet him and taking him to a place. They're wild turkeys, of course, in our area here. But yeah, anytime I can make a kid smile, I put an animal in front of him where they get to kill him and harvest him. It doesn't matter. Just spending time and seeing that kid smile is what it's all about. But I got a question to ask you.
Yeah.
You guys, what kind of calls y'all running?
I've actually got I bought my call from Eddie Salters. The call that I'm
You
running.
bought yours from Eddie Salters? Well, I want to run some for you here and let you hear them. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
That'd be amazing.
The American Roots Outdoors, I have signature series line of calls. I've got slate calls, glass calls, box calls, diaphragms. All of my slate calls and box calls are made with CNC machinery, and they're exactly the same cut, thickness, everything. So all of my calls are American Roots. When you think of American Roots, you think of your family. You think of your ancestors, right?
Right.
All of my calls have meaning. My box calls are named after my mother, Laverne. My slate calls are named after sisters that's passed away. Evelyn is a 4-inch slate, and I'm going to run her for you right here. Listen to this. She lost her life in 1972 in a head-on collision, drunk driver. Then this is a 3-inch slate, rosewood pot, walnut pot slate. Margaret, my sister, lost her life in 1993 to a drunk driver in Mississippi. Listen to this little call. That's a slate call. And this other one, my sister Maureen, she lost her life to congestive heart failure 2 years ago. This coming May. This is a glass call. What do you think of them, boys?
Boy, I tell you right now,
I think somebody's been practicing.
those sounded amazing through a phone, so I can only imagine how good they sound in real life.
Now, I listened to some just, I don't know, 2 hours ago that didn't sound that good.
Yeah, the real thing didn't even sound that good. No,
you guys can sound that good on them, too.
Well,
I need to get you guys hooked up. I'll make you a deal if you want to run some of my calls.
Well, I tell you what,
Love you hunt with them.
What I think is going to have to happen is I think some of us are going to have to make a road trip down there and see you, and we'll just come get
down, hang out with me. We'll get you hooked up.
I would love
to do that. Let me run these diaphragms for you.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Diaphragms. This is a 2-reed call. We call it the M150. It has a slit and a tear out in the reed. It's very similar to the strut cut that I helped design for Hunter Specialty. This is a 2-reed call. Listen to this.
Don't you wish you could blow a call that good, Matt?
I do. I do wish I could blow one that good.
E250. And it's a 3-reed call cut the same way as the M150.
Okay.
And again, this 3 reeds, it takes just a little bit more air, but all of my calls hardly takes any air to use them.
Right.
Listen to this. Another one called the L300. It's a 3-reed call. It's a bat wing cut. What that is. It's got a flap in the middle. It sounds good. Here we go. Boys.
Hey. I honestly, if I had to pick one, I think the Batwing was, and that's the
like
kind
that raspier sound.
Yes,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for the raspy stuff. I don't know.
Called the L300.
The L300. Well, they
bad
all sounded good, but there's something about the raspy thing. Now, Alex, did you ever call like competitively or anything like that?
Yes, I won the National Gobbling Championships in 1988.
I thought it was something
and
like
I won the World National Amateur Championships in 1987. I won the Southwest Open. I won the Missouri State. I won the Southwest Open. I won the South Central Open. I don't know how many times. Made the top 10 in the national 6 times. National convention. Let me think. What else? I won a bunch of stuff. I won runner-up World Gobbling. I won the Southwest Open Gobbling, owl hooting, bunch of stuff. I got all kinds of trophies. But yeah, I've even judged the national championship several times.
That's awesome. So yes, Matt.
What he's saying
question,
is he's good.
Practiced. Yeah, he's had some practice.
I'm not either. I'm just saying, kind of like a carpenter. If you all you do is carpenter work, you better be pretty good at it.
Well, you're not going to have a job very long if you're not.
That's right. I mean, the more you do something, the better you get. You should, So, but the whole thing. If I were to die tomorrow, and I'm gonna reference that again. If I die tomorrow, there'll be an HS logo on me somewhere, and I want to leave a legacy, a good legacy to people who say, "Man, you know what? I know Alex Rutledge is a pretty good old boy."
Well, I know you're going to get it from me.
To help somebody. Well, I hope so. I think I will, and I appreciate that. I don't want to leave anybody thinking bad of me because I did the shirt off my back to anybody. And I'm going to reference back to the Facebook post I made. The guy in the ponytail, I didn't know if he was I don't know if he's a pastor, a culture, a fad, whatever it was. But it was, I was curious to understand him. So, judge nobody. God's the judge. I love everybody. There's nobody I hate. I just hate the way some people believe that goes against the Bible. So when I leave this world, you can say, "Oh, Rut, he's going to stand for the Bible." Even though he wasn't perfect, he messed up too. Rutledge is going to stand up for the Bible and our constitutional rights and our hunting rights. That's what I want people to say.
That's all we can ask. That's what we all need to stand up for, in my opinion. Now, Alex, if somebody's wanting to get one of them really nice turkey calls you got, what's the best way of doing so?
Go to my website, www.americanreachoutdoors.com, and you can order all my calls, my apparel, my T-shirts, decals, all of it from the site. And, everything's signed and dated. When you buy a diaphragm, I look at it, and my hands are sanitized, I'm clean, and I make sure that diaphragm's the right tension, the right setting, right cut, and I date it the month that you got it and the year and I write my signature on that diaphragm. It's on gray tape. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And all my slate calls, box up, they're all signed. So when you boys come and get your calls, and I'll cut you the deal.
Well,
I'll take care of you. Every one of them be signed.
Hey, I'm 100% serious. You're not that far from us. You know, we're just
come on.
Me and Matt are right up here at Lake of the Ozarks. We're not far at all. So
He's 45 minutes from me.
yeah, Justin's a little closer. So you're gonna have to wait for us though.
Right.
You guys on our podcast. We get you guys on our podcast talking about what you're doing sometime.
Now, speaking of that, Alex, kind of share with the people a little more about your podcast so we can kind of get the word out about it, you know?
Okay, we're on every podcast carrier available. We've ranked in the top 50 on Apple in the outdoor category in the nation over a dozen times. I believe last week we was 24th in the nation with our show. So our show is structured. If we have you as a guest, you guys, we kick off our show. Who is Outdoors Traditions TV? Who is it?
Right.
Who are the guys? Where was you born? Where'd you go to school? We kick it off that way to get a feel for that person or this company, and we talk about and evolve into where it is now. So our content is pretty cool. We hear funny stories and we hear sad stories, and it's the true American story, you know?
Yeah.
Like me, born in a farmhouse. Raised dirt floor poor. I was raised on welfare, guys, because my family was older parents. My mom was 40 when she had me. My dad was like 46. And my dad couldn't work because he had arthritis, but he would raise cattle and dogs to make extra money. But I was raised on welfare till I went out of school. I was so embarrassed because I was poor. If I had to go back to it, I'd hold my head high. I remember my dad taking me to school and letting me out. We had an old rusty car. The fenders rusted out of it. It didn't look good, and all my other friends had new vehicles. And I said, Dad, just let me out down there at the road. That breaks my heart to think I used to think like that. If I had to do it again, I'd ride right up in front of that door and open that door of that old rusty car and get out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
We do things as kids that we don't realize.
Right.
Any kids that's listening, and near to your roots. Don't let anything affect you the way you believe of your family, and support your family and what you got, man. You know,
be happy about it, because I can promise you there's somebody in the world that's got it way worse than you. You know, if you had a meal to eat and a place to sleep, you're doing better than somebody else. I can promise you. So always be grateful.
That's right, brother.
And like Alex just said, if you ever have a chance to help somebody out, whether it be in the hunting and fishing industry or just in life, do it. Don't hesitate. Because if, you know, you always get that feeling inside you when you see somebody in need or something like that, like, man, I should help them. That feeling's there for a reason, in my opinion.
That's right. Holy Spirit talking to you. Let people see Jesus in you.
That's
Jesus is love.
Go up there and help them. You know, and you'll be surprised on what little can make somebody's day. You know, me and Matt, we take people out snagging paddlefish here on Lake of the Ozarks, and one of the greatest things we get to do is we always give a trip away every year. A buddy of ours, a pastor here in Lynn Creek, and we went to his church deal, and we give away a trip, and we took the guys. Now, bless their heart, they froze to death that day. It was freezing cold, but we caught some fish. But to see people catch their first fish, these people never fish in their life.
Right. Hadn't experienced the outdoors at all.
None of it, you know, and they had an absolute blast, even in the worst conditions possible, of course.
Right.
But you don't never know how that could change somebody's life, just taking them out and do it. And it may not have nothing to do with hunting and fishing, but it got them out of the house and got them to doing something that maybe they never would have tried it. So, hey, that's why, like I said, if you get that feeling in your gut for a reason, it's because you probably should be doing it. And if you have the means, or in it, not even money, like if you can just help somebody, anything, just do it. It'll make you feel better about yourself.
Don't expect nothing back other than respect. Yeah, don't expect nothing back.
Right. I think
the Bible tells us.
I think that people get they get a little caught up in, I'll do something for somebody, but I want the fame and I want the glory. Or like people will donate all this money, but then they want their name on everything and they want everybody to know, like, I get that. You're doing it for the wrong reasons right there. The best people in the world are the people you never hear about.
Right.
That's right. The Bible tells us, and I'm paraphrasing, I want to say this real quick. The right hand, if it does something, the left's not supposed to know it.
That's right.
You're not supposed to talk about it.
Right.
You do something, you don't need to talk about it. Just go do it. Do a good deed and let people see Christ in you.
And
you smell what I smell? Listen, you smell what I smell?
I smell you.
Smell what?
I smell you.
I smell it over there, and I think it's dinner time, boys.
All right. Well,
got fried chicken, gravy.
Oof.
I think.
Dang.
Hey, I got one quick question for you, Alex, before we get off here. Do you remember an old man? He probably wasn't an old man back then. He's one of the local turkey callers by the name of Vernon Fuller.
I remember that name. I sure do.
He's from around the Bradleyville area. He was a preacher.
No, I know that name.
He used to compete in turkey calls competitions back, I think, in the 70s. He beat. Do what?
His voice.
Yeah. Night in Hell. He used to compete against them guys when they was on that level.
Yeah, I think I remember he wore glasses, little short guy, and kind of bald headed. He voice called. Yes.
Yep, that's him. Yep. He was my preacher for the longest time.
He could yelp. Man, he could yelp and voice call. That's how I learned. When I gobbled water, that was my voice.
Yeah.
It's our voice call too. Yeah. We got a lot of talent here in Missouri. A lot of good hunters, man. I want to thank you guys for having me on your show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, for sure, Alex. I mean, I have enjoyed talking to you tonight. And, man, I can't. Well, I'm serious. We're going to get with you, and we're going to come down there and see you. I mean, I would love to come down there.
If you'll have us. With a few boys.
Hey.
A few boys and catch them in crappie and call some in turkeys up. Let you kill them.
Hey.
Say when.
That's what I want to do.
That sounds like a deal to me.
I'm serious.
I know where we can catch some crappie.
Well, and kill some turkeys. Now, I don't need to kill them. You guys can kill them. But I got a buddy up there named Mike Malone. He's one of the best Lake of the Ozark fishermen up in the country.
I know him.
Yeah,
he's invited me up there. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you right now, there's some good. This lake will impress you on how good the crappie fishing is on it. But
that'd be awesome. We'll try to work in some baits where I can come up there this spring.
Sounds like a plan to me. If I could have Alex Rutledge call me in a turkey, that would just make my.
Oh man, hey, we can do it. We can do it. I promise you.
Well, that'd be awesome.
All right, Alex. We'll let you get to your fried chicken, but thanks for coming on here and talking with us tonight.
Boys. We've been on here an hour and 5 minutes. Boys.
I know. I can't. But once you just get the rambling, you just ramble. You know.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly. And I opened up and told some things a lot of people didn't know about my life and some of the things I've experienced through being kind to people when they just do things, you know. But I don't hate them. I love them. I pray for them. So,
well, I sure do appreciate it.
Well, thank you all so much, man.
All right, Alex. We'll be talking to you.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Yep. You too. See you later. Well, once again, I'd like to thank Alex for coming on the show. What a great guy. I mean, he really is. I'm definitely going to try to, hopefully he'll have us down there to do the podcast. I'd love to go do that.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
And talk with him. And, you know, shoot, I'd like to have him come up here and call me in a turkey. I mean, I'm all for that. So, but,
yeah, and just make sure everybody get on there and check out the American Roots Outdoors podcast.
Of course. Yeah, for sure. Alec, I mean, you guys just heard his whole story, and he gave us a lot tonight, you know. So anybody listening, please go check out Alex's deal. I think you guys will really enjoy it. He's kind of about the same thing that we are. So if you're a fan of this show, you'll definitely be a fan of his. And you never know, maybe one day we'll be down there talking on it. So, but from all of us here at Ozark Traditions TV, we want to thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Ozark Traditions TV podcast crew would appreciate it if you leave a 5-star rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps so you don't miss an episode. And also, be sure to check out our hunting episodes on our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe. While you're on the web, head on over to our Facebook page and click on the follow and like button to see what the Ozark Traditions TV crew is up to. Ozark Traditions TV would like to thank you for joining in to this week's podcast. Be sure to tune in on our next weekly podcast as we bring the outdoors inside. From all of us at Ozark Traditions TV, we thank you for listening. And remember, if you see us out in God's country, stop us. We'd like to meet you.